Yo, what up? It's Bagel. It's been a minute since I made a YouTube video. Really long time. Sorry about that. I've got some pretty good stories to tell. Uh, let's start with some experiences. One I had, it's gonna start sad, but I find it to be a happy story because, of what it did for me. It gave me, reassurance and acceptance over the situation. So, what happened is my older brother, Christopher, he got hit by a car in August, and it killed him instantly. I found out 2 days later, or no, sorry, I found out that night, and I was devastated. You know, it was crazy. That's my brother. Well, a couple days after finding out, I decided to smoke some DMT that I had extracted, and I realized from this, afterwards from this trip that, like, I was really I felt really weird about the situation. I never cried about it, but I was in shock, And I thought I was handling it okay, but I learned from this trip that I wasn't after what I felt after the trip. So, anyways, I smoked DMT, and, I'm not sure how much I smoked. This was the real NN. This isn't the 5 MEO DMT like you saw in my original video. This was pure NN. I extracted it myself from Mimosa Hostilis with the help of a friend. Anyways, I just packed like a whole bunch into a pookie, a little like a meth pipe type thing. Get that for background light. And I took 3 solid rips of it. On the 3rd rip, I just felt my eyes close. I couldn't even keep it. It wasn't even a conscious decision to close my eyes. Like, they just closed by themselves, Next thing I know, I'm seeing this huge kaleidoscopic smoke. Like, if you're ever in a still room and smoke is moving, you'll see it, like, bulges out. It's, like, very morphing. I began to see that come towards me, but it was made out of different colors, gold, green, red, all that. It came over to me and it passed through my face. As it passed through my face, I opened my eyes, and when I opened my eyes, I saw maybe 20 feet in front of me all these spirits, and they looked like an Alex Gray painting. Like, it was all just geometrical features, and they're all staring at me, and I can sense them, and I know who they are, and like I know that they are spirits that help recently deceased cross on to the other side. They're like the transporters. And in the crowd I see my brother, and he comes over to me, and without saying words, just looking at me, he tells me he's sorry for what happened. He wanted me to tell, my mom that, that he loves us and he's sorry, and he'd tell his daughter that. And he said he had to get going, and he stepped into, I guess, a van or something. It was some kind of, vehicle that was recognizable in this reality, So it was like a van or something. And, one of the spirits comes over to me while 4 others get into the van with him, and he's like, alright, so your brother's, going on out to a much better place, and this entity totally gave me a feeling of what this place that he was going to was, and that, that's where I'm going, that's where we're all going. I came back after the spirit that came and talked to me went into the van, the doors closed, it drove off into this light that was radiating all these colors. I came back too, and I was back in my friend's apartment, and my friend was just next to me, and I just kind of collapsed on her, and all I could say was wow for a good 20-30 minutes, I couldn't rationalize it all at first, but I realized after that I was beginning to actually go down this wrong path. I had a whole different thought on life after the moment I found out Chris died until that moment, and I had no idea that I had that transition of thought. It was almost like a subliminal depression within me. I didn't even realize it, and I was definitely going down some bad shit. And then that really put everything at ease, I still think about it every single day, and that trip was the most meaningful experience of my life. That the next day I went to Big Joe and Son's tattoo parlor in the city near me, and I got the DMT molecule tattoo on my shoulder. that tattoo doesn't mean, hey, I like fucking tripping, I like getting high. I mean, I do, but that's more for my brother. This tattoo means, hey, I got to say goodbye to my brother. I was the only one who got to say goodbye to my brother, and he knows it, and I know it. So it really helped. In September of 2012, last semester, I was at a different college, and I had about a gram of DMT on me in my dorm room. I was rolling up a joint. The fire alarm went off. We went outside for the fire alarm. The room obviously smelled like weed. I had broken up bud that I just rolled up. And I also had left the bag on my desk, which I forgot until I got outside. So I go back in, and there's the residential director standing outside of my dorm. I try to go into my room. She won't let me in. She says, you need to wait for Keith to come. Now, Keith is the dorm's peace officer. He's the one he's basically a police officer, but he can't make arrests. He's just like the neutral kind of guy. But he's a cool dude. Like, I smoke cigarettes with him, fucking talk to him. I've even like told him about like some of my acid experiences and shit. Like, he's a cool dude. Well, he comes up with this other cop in uniform. This other cop is in uniform, and Keith has to do his job. So Keith enters my room. He walks in, he's like, just takes in a deep breath. He's like, all right, where's the weed at? I'm like, it's right on the desk. I knew he was going to find that shit. I didn't want him to know that I had DMT, so I thought, if I just gave him that, he knew me. He knew I was going to be honest. He'd be like, all right, that's it, we could leave. Well, he asks if there's anything else in the room. He searches my entire room. I had DMT in a lockbox, which I knew they couldn't search without a warrant. So he comes to the lockbox, and he's like, you mind if I take a look of what's in there? I said, yeah, I do mind. I don't give you permission to search it. He's like, well, we're going to have to lock you out of your room then until we get a warrant and we can come in and get what's in there. So I was like, fuck. I thought maybe like I'd be left in the room. I could get that shit out, fucking hide it in the woods or something. Nah, no matter what, my rights were completely stripped from me in that situation. So I'm like, Keith, can I talk to you for a minute? He says, sure. He closes the door. The cop and the RD leave the room. It's just me and him. I tell him, I have DMT in that box. I explained to him what it is. I said, what are my options? He said, well, you can either give it to me and I'll make sure they just give you a misdemeanor charge, or I can walk out of here, pretend you said nothing, but when they get in there, you're going to be at the mercy of their opinion, what they think you should get charged with. So I said, and they could charge me with a felony. They could charge me with manslaughter for simple, just trace possessions, and I had a gram of it. So I'm just like, all right, here you go. I handed over my pipe, and over everything. And I was devastated doing that because I'm like, here I am. I'm about to get in so much trouble for something that I use for spiritual purposes. That, like, I never used DMT just to get high. I'd always use it, and when I would use it, I would think, and I would try to learn. I wouldn't just do it and fucking not give it the appreciation it deserves. Well, fucking Keith makes sure, like, when they arrest me, they didn't put me in cuffs. He let me smoke a cig with him before we went. He helped me out. He helped me out to the best of his ability. And then I went to the police station. They processed me. I got charged with criminal possession of a narcotic in the 7th degree, which in the state of New York is a Class A misdemeanor. When I had court for that, I had to go to 3 different court appearances. This happened in September. I didn't get done with it till mid-January. No, January 2nd. January 2nd, that's when I had my last court date. And that court date decided that it got dropped to a violation. I had a very good lawyer. It got dropped to a violation, and I was given ACD, which is baby probation for a year. It's basically if I get arrested for any kind of drug-related crime, my previous charge will be brought up. Before that court date happened, so in between here, this is like in maybe early December, late November, me and my friend Teddy were working on a photography project. My friend Teddy had a bowl on him. I had a 1/4 ounce of weed in my pocket. Cops came over, said we were in a sketchy area, looking sketchy, whatever. This guy, Dave Ziegerman, I know him from my school. He's a campus fucking PD fucking faggot. Hate that guy. He comes over with this other officer. They begin to search us, and I'm pissed. They have no reason to be searching us. We're doing homework. We're working on a photography project. They come over and start searching us. Luckily, they did not find the 1/4 ounce on me. the whole time. But they found a pipe with resin on it on my friend Teddy. Arrested us both right there, and charged us with criminal possession of marijuana in the 5th degree, I think. It might have been 7th. I'm not sure. Very last one. The only way to get that charge is either you gotta be smoking it in public or you have to have over an ounce on you in public. We were doing neither. He had a fucking empty bowl in his pocket. That got dropped in court. Those guys were idiots. I had to fucking go to a dean meeting at my school because they wanted to kick me out for that after the DMT thing. And I told them off. I told every single cop that was there that helped, did the processing with me, arrested me. You guys are idiots. You got nothing on me. And they started making up stories too. This one lady that was processing me, I didn't speak to her at all. I knew when I was in that police station, especially because I had a quarter ounce in my pocket, I knew not to say a fucking word. I kept my mouth shut. I just hoped that they didn't ask to search again and that I could just get the hell out of there, And luckily that's what happened. So I'm at my meeting and this lady saying, oh yeah, I was talking with Michael, and he was saying how he was smoking it so he could use smoke for a realistic effect. I'm like, and I asked like the committee, like the school committee, I was like, can I interrupt her for a second? They were like, sure. I was like, I am so offended that you're sitting 2 feet away from me, looking at me like I'm a fucking idiot and saying this shit. I was like, what makes you think that I would, in a room filled with you guys, admit to something that even if I did do, you guys had no proof of? Why would I admit to it? She rolled her eyes at me like a fucking little 14-year-old child. And then I just like that skull. I'm like, this is who you got putting your kids in jail. And that's like all I had to say. I was found innocent by the committee in my school, but because it was a second drug offense, I wasn't allowed to return to the dorms the following semester, which is why I'm at this school now. But keep watching. Thank you.